Why hello there. In a comment on my review of Twerps, it was jokingly suggested that I review Lasers and Feelings, which actually got me thinking, there's definitely something I can do with that. So, let's make a Lasers and Feelings hack. But first I should probably explain Lasers and Feelings, which is a one-page RPG released in 2013 by 17 Design, which has become quite popular for creating hacks or derivatives of, due to its simplicity and easily rethemable concepts. In the original game, players are the crew of a scout ship and create characters by selecting from a list of styles and roles, then choose a number between 2 and 5, which represents where the character's abilities fall on a scale of lasers, and feelings, which represent the character's aptitude with logical or technological tasks and emotional or interpersonal tasks, respectively. Then we give the character a cool space adventure name, some standard equipment, and a goal. Then the players collaboratively choose 2 strengths and a problem for the ship, and that's it. When a situation arises where a test is required, players roll 1d6 and succeed if they roll lower than their number on a lasers-related task or higher than their number on a feelings-related task, with a roll of exactly the number being a laser feelings success, which allows the player to ask the Game Master 1 question, in addition to being counted as a success. Players also get an extra die if they are prepared for the situation, and another if they are an expert. The Game Master decides when those things are applicable based on character and situation, so presumably a character's style and role are taken into account, but it's never really specified. Also, you can help other characters by making a check and then, if successful, add an extra die to their roll. Then the total number of successes is used to judge the outcome, and that's the whole rules. There is also a scenario generator and a small section for the Game Master, but that is the whole game. So, let's get to hacking. First, we need to decide what our game will be about, and let's say animal people. Everyone likes those, and they'll be surviving in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Now, the easiest thing to do would be just replace lasers and feelings with 2 other somewhat opposing attributes, replace all the space stuff with post-apocalyptically themed stuff, and just leave everything else alone. But that would be boring, so we're gonna do a bit more. In place of the style and role, we'll start our character creation by choosing an animal, then 2 animal traits, and 2 people traits. The 2 ends of our scale are, of course, animal and people, and also I've named the number we choose humanity for thematic reasons. Characters still get a name, I guess, and in place of the standard equipment, players choose 3 common and 1 rare item. And we do not have a ship to customize, so let's give the players a selection of post-apocalyptic features that they can use to make their own weird and wacky wasteland. Base mechanics are essentially the same, except that you roll over your humanity for tasks using your animal abilities, and under for tasks using your people abilities, which is entirely for thematic and aesthetic reasons. But since I did think the original bonus dice were a bit too vague, you now get a bonus die for each of your traits that applies to the task, up to a maximum of 2, and 1 more if you can use your rare item. Also, I don't really like the question reward for rolling your number exactly. Like, insight is valuable, but it also seems like you would run out of relevant questions fairly fast. So let's replace that with an Ana-People point, which can then be spent to get an extra die on a roll. And there's really no need to change the helping mechanic, but given the more violent nature of this setting, I would like some kind of damage tracking. So let's add a system of wound dice, which are added to your roll and force you to discard an equal number of successes from the result. Then we'll add our own scenario generator, dump everything into InDesign, and we have ourselves a Lasers and Feelings hack. And since assigning numerical values to specific aspects of games is kinda my thing, let's take a look at Lasers and Feelings specifically as it relates to making another game. Accessibility, 5 out of 6. The simplicity of the system makes it incredibly easy to modify. Pretty much anyone could do a basic reskin of the system as long as they can come up with 2 distinct attributes that will cover most situations. Even with the extra modifications I did, I still designed this game in one day while writing the script for this video, and then another day to write everything up and make it look pretty. Flexibility, 4 out of 6. The system can easily be applied to pretty much any concept as long as you can fit it into the somewhat restrictive base mechanics. There is not a lot of wiggle room, but making minor changes and adding stuff on is fairly easy. You could also make some more significant changes if you wanted to. I considered doing that, but wanted to keep things simple for the video. I might still, and if I do, I'll put a link in the description so you can see an example of that. And use, 3 out of 6. The rules and even text of the game can be freely used. Kinda. It is published under the Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike license, and what all of those words mean is that you can freely distribute the game, even with only the most minor of changes, or none actually, but with 3 caveats. You must credit the original creator and indicate if changes were made, so basically including A Hack of Lasers and Feelings by John Harper covers that. You may not use the original or any derivative work for commercial purposes, which basically means anything with the intent to make money, and any derivative work must also be published under the same license. So Animal People is also published under the Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike license. So if you wanted to publish a hack of it, you could, but would then have to credit me, in addition to John Harper, and also all of those other requirements that I just listed. So basically, if you just want to throw together a quick little game for funsies or to dip your toe into game design, Lasers and Feelings may be a good system for you. However, if you want to make money off of your game, or are just one of those people who thinks everyone wants to steal your ideas, not a good choice. Alright, thank you for watching. If you would like to get Animal People, there is a link in the description, and if you enjoyed this video, consider checking out my Patreon, where you can get early access to videos and exclusive art stuff. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine too. You can always just hit all the lovely buttons, like, subscribe, the other videos floating around, and if there are any other games you would like to see me cover in some way, I cover things in lots of ways now apparently, let me know in the comments. And I will see you next time.